So I'm out here in Dubai and I'm here celebrating what has been a long journey for me personally and also for our young man here who I've come to visit. T, how you doing?
I'm well. I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. So I'm celebrating because, as you know, for the last 30 years I've been trying to promote this idea and concept to people that there's a different way of living that allows us to tap into being consciously aware, tapping into spirituality, and then also defining what our vision of success is and what that all is about based on applying universal spiritual laws. And so when you told me that you was out here, I was like, well, what a way to kind of celebrate and just really pick that. Because what I want to share and show people, because oftentimes what I found is when you're sharing stuff with people, they don't get it until they can see evidence of it.
Yeah.
And you just kind of embody that. What do I mean? I mean, so we met what, some 25 years ago. Yeah, I introduced you to my son when he was at the age of 5, and the two of you have been best pals ever since. And it's been interesting watching you guys' journey because I'm a visionary and I love to invest in young talent. But what really kind of made you stand out for me was 9 years ago when I had this vision of wanting to create the Dada Success Academy, which was the embodiment of all of that I've been speaking about, showing people how success can be taught. And in fact, success isn't taught in school, college, and university. So we need to have a place where we can learn these things. And I reached out to you and said, look, this is what I'm doing. And you was like, sign me up. Like you were in the first intake of students. So for the people that are just tuning out, I want you to kind of give me the backstory. Like what kind of mindset did you have back then that made some young, you was a youngster, like 19, 20, decide to take a lot of money, because it was not cheap, and invest in yourself? What was going through your mind?
At the time, I just remember I've always known that the standard education and the normal definition of success wasn't mine. So everything that I was being told looks like success. Get this job, have this career, do it this way. It just didn't resonate with me. It never did. So I was always trying to find my definition of success and trying to learn what that looks like for me. And when you presented what you had, it seemed more in line with what I was looking for.
Oh, really? So it seems like, so what you're saying is like, it seemed crazy enough outside the box, as it were,
Absolutely.
to what, school, college, university, parents, and everyone else is like, follow this path. This sounded something kind of different.
Different, yeah. Something different. Not everybody was saying what you were saying, but I wasn't trying to hear what everybody else was saying anyway. So.
Okay, I hear you. So it kind of resonated.
Yeah.
Wow. And so one of the things that we talked about in that 12, it was only 12 weeks, I think, thereabouts. But some of the things that we were talking about was, as I just mentioned, these universal principles of success. Universal principles that when you learn them and begin to apply them, they can have a profound effect in and on your life, including learning the universal law of money, because I know you was definitely into the money back then.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I think one of the things that we touched on where money was concerned, I introduced you the whole concept of cash flow.
Yes.
Which I didn't even realize that it's only, I think, recently when we were talking that you were saying to me, well, I mean, I'll let you say, how did you find the whole learning about cash rather than just looking at it from a, this is how much I get paid this month and this is my expenditure, to now looking at your cash as currency with a whole panoramic view of 12 months?
Yeah, it just, when you understand cash flow, what's actually coming in, what's going out, and you can visually see everything, it adds a lot of clarity, or it did for me. I'm sure it does for many people as well. And it just allows you to plan, forecast, in ways that you're not going to be able to without doing it properly. Because it's a lot of information to take in.
Right.
just looking at things like your income compared to your expenses. One thing that really stood out to me was having all these expenses and having one income. I was thinking,
Okay.
why can't we flip that?
And have multiple income
incomes
streams.
for multiple expenses. And it sounds very simple, a very simple concept, but the cash flow, just seeing it, visually being able to see it, work things out, it definitely helps.
And it's good that you talked about being able to just see, because that is really the basis of my work. It's about teaching people how it is a spiritual quality to be able to vision correctly. And it's not even my creation. You know, I was talking to one of my other young guys, and we found that it's actually written in the Bible. You know, Habakkuk 2 verse 2, chapter 2. You know, it talks about that whole thing. So chapter 2 verse 2, it talks about write your vision down, make it plain. Yeah, there's something that happens when you have the ability to be able to see your vision written down. So my question to you is, had no one ever shown you about cash flow up until that point?
Not in that way. I mean, I'd studied business, so there was a basic understanding of cash flow. But like, it was more textbook, it wasn't really.
Right, okay. And also combining it with the whole thing is of money being yours to administer, and it being currency, it being energy, and you being the custodian of it and knowing how to utilize it and manage it. Because at the end of the day, if you're not able to manage a small amount of money, why would the universe give you a whole bunch of money?
Right.
But what I was really surprised to find out is that years later, when we got speaking, you told me that you still use it till this day.
Yeah.
That's
A few
crazy.
tweets here and there,
Yeah.
but yeah, still use the same template.
And you're smiling because once you know how to use that thing, that cash flow becomes your best friend,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Like, you can see problems way down the line before they come. So you don't actually have a cash problem. You might have a cash flow issue, and they are very different things. Yeah. When you don't have any cash, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And you can feel some kind of way.
Yeah.
But when you have a cash flow, well, that's not so bad. Like, you can actually go into your future and get some money to deal with your immediate situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. And so here you are, you've done the program and you began to use it in your various different things that you were doing, because I know you were doing some business and things like that. But really the reason why I came out here celebrating my 30 years of actively investing in my community and young cats like yourself who have a vision of success that you really just want to manifest was when I heard that you was coming out here like a few months ago. So give us the story behind that, because I know it starts back in 2020.
Yeah. So 2020, I was working. I was a business development manager, and good job. Wasn't far from home. I didn't have to travel or pay for travel, walk to work. So everything was good on that front. And part time, I've always traded. So I started trading forex, and then in the latter years, I switched over to cryptocurrency. So what happens in 2020, as I'm sure many of us are aware of, COVID strikes, and I get put on furlough initially. So I couldn't work. So within that space of time, I just thought, well, I might as well just trade full time, since it's the only thing I can do. A few months later down the line, I got made redundant. At first, I was trying to look for work, couldn't find work, couldn't get any jobs. Again, it was the height of COVID. Nothing was out there for me. So I just thought, you know what, I've been trading at this point 7 to 8 years now, part time. And I thought it's the only thing I have right now, so let me just put everything into trading full time.
So you went 100% all in.
100% all in.
Okay.
And I haven't looked back since.
Wow. So the moral of that story is really, again, it's about focus and vision, right?
Absolutely.
That you made a decision and decided, I'm not going to go 50% or 60% in, I'm going to go all 150% in.
Yeah.
And when you made that your focus, your primary exclusive focus,
Yeah.
what happened? You started to make some money.
Yeah.
Yeah?
A little bit.
A little bit. Well, I think a bit more than a little bit because you didn't go back to work.
No.
Right,
No,
so you made your salary.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's keep it real because the people want to know. Because, like I said, some people don't believe certain things are possible until they can see it. So let's not shortchange the people. Let's show them exactly the real deal. So you made enough money to make you say, well, I actually don't need a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that brought you to a point where, so now you're money free because you're making your own money. You're time free because you're not trapped in a job. And now you're showing off because now you're location free. You decide you're gonna up and move to Dubai. Yeah?
Yeah. Suppose so. Yeah.
Listen, let's call it like it is because many people would like to be in that position.
Yeah.
And so how have you found it? You decided what? So you decided to come out to Dubai.
Yeah, so I
that's another big jump. Tell us about that. What's the kind of mindset? How did that come about?
So luckily I have a few friends here who have always told me about Dubai, so it's been on my radar.
Okay.
For one reason or another, it was just not appropriate for me to make the trip out here. So when I did lose my job and I was making a bit of money, my friend posed the question again. He said, look, why don't you come out? So November 2021, I booked a one-way ticket. So I didn't want any pressure. I didn't want any pressure on how long I'm going to stay out there.
Okay,
I just wanted to go out there, figure it out,
I
see if
feel
it's
you.
for me. So the first 2 weeks was a holiday. That was for me. And then after that, it was just trying to figure out if Dubai was for me. But I think after around 3 weeks, I kind of knew that this place works for me. Makes more sense for me to be out here. So
In what way? Can you articulate that? Because there's people again listening and they're trying to get some gain from what you're saying.
definitely. So I'm into cryptocurrency. That's my world. I trade it, I invest it, I will be teaching it. And,
Yeah, we got some plans on that front, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all right.
And unfortunately, at the time, the UK just wasn't embracing crypto at all. They wanted to shut everything down, tax it. They thought it was, I don't know, they didn't like it.
Yes.
So,
but you and I both know the reason why, because cats can make a lot of money, right?
Absolutely.
And that's going to give you freedom, time freedom, and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I didn't have that issue in Dubai. They embrace it a lot more. We were speaking earlier, a lot of the biggest cryptocurrency exchanges have now set up shop here as well. So
Very
government's
forward.
on board.
Yeah, I mean, they're very forward thinking because I know that just last month the government has introduced some new laws and legislations that's going to be making it really receptive for people in your industry. And I was speaking to the gentleman who's part of this lovely complex that we're staying in, and he was like, 3 of the biggest exchanges in the world are now based here, Binance and a couple of others.
Yeah.
So basically it was like the place for you.
Absolutely. No brainer.
Okay. So, all right. So you decided I'm going to stick around, but then what was you doing? Was you just like sleeping on people's couches?
Yeah, so my friend, I was in a hotel for the first 2 weeks, then I stayed with my friend for the rest of the holiday, I'll call it. I went back to the UK late December, and before that actually, I found this place. So I made the decision that I wanted to move.
Okay.
So
again, and I'm picking it out because it's really important so that we can convey this. Again, you got to a point where you made another decision.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'll say around 3 to 4 weeks in Dubai, I realized this is where I wanted to be. So I started the process of becoming a resident. So I had to apply for a freelance visa.
Okay.
So I've done that.
That's an important part that you almost missed out.
Yeah.
And so you started making moves, and I'm sharing this with you all because I want you to see that there is a pattern to success, and it starts with having a vision, and then it moves on to taking action. I talk to a lot of people who they have this vision and they do this visualization, but they don't take action. It's never going to work. It's against spiritual law. You have to take action, and you have to take action backed by faith, right? So you weren't applying for, citizenship kind of nervous or worried. You were going all in. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how long did it take?
So that process took around 2 to 3 weeks. And in the meantime, one of my good friends is into real estate. And
Oh, is that how you rolling out here? Okay. All right.
he's a good friend of mine.
Okay.
And he heard about where I'm staying now. So at the time it was just a construction site. So he sent me the link and he said, if you've got some free time, just have a look at it. So I went to go and look. Like I said, it was just a construction site, but I could see the vision, what they was trying to build. It looked impressive. So the next day, me and him went to the building. We booked a meeting with the property manager, and she walked us around the place, showed us the show apartments, explained what they were trying to put together. So it's a co-living space where, you know, you've got working areas downstairs, you've got, as you can see, you've got the rooftop swimming pool and everything like that, and it just made sense. It just made sense. She said it's going to be ready in January, which falls perfectly in line with my timeline. I needed to go back to the UK anyway to tie things up.
Okay.
So I did. End of December, I went back to the UK. I made a decision that it was this place that I wanted to actually move into.
Right.
So just before I left, I said, look, I'm going back to the UK, but I do want to move here. So I put down a deposit just before I left, and they kept me posted. They said, look, it's going to be ready end of January. And again, it just worked perfectly with me. So I went back to the UK in January, tied up things I needed to tie up.
And then came back.
Came back.
And took my boy away from me also. Like, he came out, I'm like, what's going on? He's like, Pops, I'm going to Dubai. And so the two of you just set out.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's beautiful because you can see the opportunities, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's just amazing. So, what would your tip be if you wanted to give any advice to anyone who's listening to your story? Because, you know, it sounds like some people might think, well, he had it lucky, but it was a series of conscious decisions that you had to make, right?
Absolutely.
What would you say?
The only advice I would give is just do it. Like you said before, you can have amazing ideas, you can have amazing visions. If you're not doing anything with those visions or those ideas, if you're not trying to put them into practice, if you're not trying to make it a reality, they're just dreams at the end of the day.
Wow.
You don't know what's going to happen. You might think something fails, but it will open up another door that takes you into a whole another direction, and you probably end up where you're trying to end up anyway. But if you don't try, you'll never find out.
Okay. So, how about you speak to, in your opinion, the importance of mentorship and coaching, as opposed to just trying to do the thing solo? Because we had conversations over the years about that, right?
Yeah. So I've always been somebody.
Keep it real now.
I've always been someone who feels I have to do everything by myself. Yeah, I've just felt that I need to do things by myself. I can do it alone. I don't need help. I will figure it out myself. And you know, it's a blessing, and it's also, I'm not going to say curse, but it can hold you back when you don't embrace.
Okay, actually, so I'm actually going to take it from here and say, it might not be a curse, but it definitely isn't a blessing. Yeah, and I say that because my mentor once said to me, he said, look, can you name me anything in nature that operates by itself? So I'm going to ask you that question. Can you?
No.
So then he said to me, because I said the same answer, so he said, well, therefore, anyone who tries to do things by themselves, what they're doing is actually unnatural. Take it one step further, you're actually going against natural universal laws. That actually means, if we take it to its fullest extent, that means you're actually going against the Most High. So I would actually say it is a curse, but a self-inflicted one. And so that's why when we was talking yesterday about we were going to do this, you were like, well, T, you've always been preaching to me over the years, like, try not to do the thing solo, because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so I would say that even though I've been kind of at a distance, I've been watching you over the years, and that decision that you made 9 years ago to be one of the first to graduate from the Dada Success Academy, and then also maintaining the relationship that we had, has now brought us to a point where we're talking about doing some really exciting projects.
Yeah.
And you're not thinking about doing them on your own, right?
No.
Right, okay. And the whole idea of collaboration, us coming together, has shown you the possibilities, would I dare say, far greater than what you would have been thinking for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're saying that to show you that school, college, and university teaches you to try and do things by yourself. You know, when you're sitting in class, as early as primary school, you know, you want to speak to someone to try and work out the problem, and they say, no, do it by yourself. But in the real world, does it work like that? So what they're teaching you, they're actually conditioning you. At the Dada Success Academy, we're saying that there are universal principles. I don't own them. They are out there. They have always been there, timeless. No one's just showed you them. And if we can show you and introduce them to you, then it's down to you whether you want to apply them. But guaranteed, as night follows day, if you apply them with an open mind and a belief system like you had, where you believe that there is far more things that's possible than impossible, then there's no reason why other cats can't follow in your footsteps. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
So if we have a bunch of people saying, you know, T, we are interested in learning the course that you are going to be putting together, and we're hoping to showcase that also as part of the Dada Success Academy for those of you who want to learn money. And you know what, we're always talking about money because, again, that's one of the things that we've been conditioned with, meaning rich folk talk about money all the time. They're not a slave to it, but they're not ashamed to talk about it. If you come from where we've come from, you know, council flat and that kind of background, our communities tend to not want to talk about money. They want to keep everything under the down low. And there's no need for it. Because in this new era, there's money for everyone. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So, I hope that you found this useful. I hope that you've been able to get some nuggets from this. But if anyone wants to reach out to you for the course, or they just want to follow you on Instagram to see how you're living this life, and it's not a fake life, it's through hard work. Like, you've been working hard towards this vision for, well, I've known you for 25 years, and you're only 30, so that shows someone who's been on the grind, and you've had personal setbacks that could have set you back, but they haven't. So it's not like man's just had a silver spoon. But if they want to reach out to you, how might they do that?
Yeah, I'll give you my personal Instagram. You can reach out to TJSAK, I'll spell it. So it's at TEEJAYSAK. That's TEEJAYSAK. And I'll also be posting crypto stuff on there. There's a crypto page as well, which you'll see on my page, but I'll leave it here. So it's Crypto T, T spelled with 3. So it's Crypto, CRYPTO, T333. There's a reason behind that, but you'll have to be a friend to find out.
Okay, wow. And so, in the meantime, I'm going to be doing a 5-day challenge where I'm going to be introducing some of these principles, these universal laws and spiritual principles that you can begin to employ into your life to give you a greater sense of conscious awareness. These are principles that have been taught to me from as far back as 40 years ago with my spiritual mentor, and my whole thing, my purpose, my life vision and mission is to share this information with those who want to live an independent life, just like my man has shown. A life where you can live more fulfilling and you can be of more service to life. And so if that resonates with you and you'd like to register for the forthcoming 5-day challenge, visit www.dadasuccessacademy.com/ 5 D number 3. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, then follow me at Tony DADA. That's TonyBioladada. I hope that you found this useful. I'm really proud to see what you're doing, my man.
Thanks for coming to
And
Dubai.
yeah, it's been great. Till next time, enough love.